Market trends in the country show a huge availability of onion at very reduced prices. The 7:30 news today focuses on the availability of onion in the market, the blessed reasons for this supply, and how much profit the traders are making. The fight against COVID-19 and its new encroaching variants take a higher gear as medical personnel and inhabitants in the different regions make the respect for anti-COVID-19 measures mandatory to halt the spread. And activities to designate the most beautiful sportswoman in the country, dubbed Miss Lyon contest, has taken off in Douala in the littoral. Live from Studio 5 of the CRTV Production Center, I am Benin Bumagana. This is the 7:30 news.
Je vous exhorte de nouveau à porter vos masques, à vous laver régulièrement les mains et à faire appel à un médecin ou à tout autre personnel de santé au cas où des symptômes apparaissent. C'est le seul moyen de préserver les vies et de freiner la propagation du virus.
Once again, good evening. The abundance of onion in the market has caused a drop in prices as onion farmers in the North region also complain of low profit. Agronomists attribute the increase in yields to improved seeds and other inputs donated to farmers by the head of state after the August 2020 floods. Our Far North regional correspondent Ayub John Ashu has been probing into onion production and has the following report.
Onion is produced in the 6 divisions of the Far North region all year round. According to experts, modern techniques of marshland farming makes the dry season yields account for about 80% of the annual production. Officials of the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development estimate onion production this year in the Far North region at about 300,000 tons, which justifies its abundance at very low costs.
The head of state has instructed the government to assist the population, and the Minister of Agriculture also donate improved onion seed fertilizer and motor pump. This has also an impact.
Meanwhile, thanks to the Special Triennial Youth Program, groups of youths in the region are producing tons of onions within the concept of pioneer villages put in place by the Minister of Youth and Civic Education. But as consumers and wholesalers relish the prevailing drop in prices, producers complain of a number of difficulties.
Les sacs ne se vendent pas au-delà de 7 à 8 000 francs.
A bag sells at a maximum of 10,000 francs. If you do not have good storage facilities, the product will get bad.
To clear their stocks, some producers have opted to hawk their produce at road junctions, while others preserve to eventually sell to foreign buyers at higher costs.
The availability of onions in large quantities in markets in Yaoundé has caused a drop in the price of the aromatic vegetable to more than half. A 100-kilogram bag of the spice sells at 15,000 francs, down from 30,000 francs. Emmanuel Avenu visited the 8th District Market, Marché 8e, which is the biggest onions market in Yaoundé, and reports that the product is even sold to neighboring Sema countries. Here is her report.
Truckloads of onions pour into the 8th District Market, Marché 8e in Yaoundé. 10 to 20 trucks of this highly consumed aromatic vegetable are loaded daily. Going under the 100-kilogram weight to earn a living has become a job for many youths.
When clients buy, we transport. When trucks arrive, we offload. Through these, we earn money.
Onions is in abundance and the price affordable. It is the harvesting season in the North and Far North regions where the crop is grown.
From the trucks, the onions are kept here for those who want to buy less than 5 bags. Those buying from 30 bags and above do that directly from the trucks.
The 8th District Market is the epicenter for onions business in the capital city. Once here, the spice is sold out to wholesalers, retailers, and even small businesses and households. But a huge chunk is taken to neighboring countries like Gabon, Congo, and Equatorial Guinea.
We are loading the onions that are going to Gabon. We can load 2 trucks per day. It helped me for a living. I pay the house. I pay my children's school fees.
With 14 to 15,000 CFA francs, a 90 to 100 kilogram bag of onions is yours. The price is that good as supply surpasses demand, and so shall it be till the harvesting season is over by the end of April.
The government has stepped up its funding for the activities of the Upper Nile Valley Development Authority, UNVDA, in a move to limit massive rice importation into the country. More than 2 billion CFA francs has been offered to the institution, which has cited the construction of bridges, irrigation canals, and the purchase of new equipment as its major areas of investment in 2021. Kilo Valerie Sala reports from Dub.
15,000 hectares of land for rice cultivation in Dub, yet not up to 4,000 hectares are cultivated at a time local demand for rice is stretching to roughly 580,000 tons in the country.
In 2019, Cameroon imported 803,000 tons of rice, worth 232 billion.
Inadequate irrigation infrastructure means limited water, but the government financial package to the Upper Nile Valley Development Authority is critical in boosting local rice production.
Management of UNVDA have received support from government for more than 2 billion to increase the production to avoid importing rice from abroad.
We envisage the releveling of 250 hectares, 3,000 linear meters of canals, rehabilitation of 10 mini dams, construction of 6 bridges in this area.
Officials of the Upper Nile Valley Development Authority are envisaging an increase from 3 to 7 tons of rice cultivation per hectare in the current year 2021.
The Bamenda 2 Council has embarked on an operation to combat the spread of COVID-19 in schools within the municipal area. Under the supervision of the Mayor, PATYCHOU, some colleges have been disinfected. Eric Langmia Wofo reports from Bamenda.
2 Council works with the Army Rescue Unit in gradually disinfecting schools, following statistics from the Northwest Delegation of Secondary Education indicating a resurgence of COVID-19 cases on school campuses. There are reports of teachers and students infected by the pandemic.
We don't want schools to be suspended in this region because that is our priority. That is why we are here out today to disinfect schools, to protect the life of our children, so that they should tomorrow take over the country that we want to construct.
Here at PS's Mancon, there are no cases of the pandemic yet, but school officials are working to keep the coronavirus away from the campus.
We are taking all the precautions to make sure that the students respect the COVID-19 laws stated by the state.
The Bamenda 2 Council has promised to disinfect all the schools in the council area, and it has also donated anti-COVID-19 kits to the schools.
And over in the far north region, there's been a lot of sensitization going on about the respect of barrier measures against COVID-19. And this is reaching out to those who need to wear their face mask and maintain social distancing. Let's follow details from our far north regional correspondent.
The meeting that brought together local authorities, traditional and religious leaders, amongst others, was to strategize on their involvement in the implementation of government's response strategy on the fight against COVID-19.
The aim of this important meeting is to chat ways with them on the relaunch of the sensitization campaign on the respect of government's measures to fight against COVID-19. I also call on them to put water and soap at the disposal of the population for them to wash their hands and to encourage them to always wear their mask.
During the interactive session, the different actors made various proposals aimed at increasing the effectiveness on the respect of the measures.
On my part, as a traditional ruler, I think I will start by sensitizing the population on the respect of these important measures as stipulated by the government.
At the end of the meeting, which the SDO described as crucial, the participants collectively welcomed his decision to relaunch the awareness campaign to steer up the observance of the barrier measures.
More than 120 million coronavirus cases have been recorded worldwide, with over 6.7 million recoveries and more than 2.66 million deaths reported. India records the highest rises in cases this year, with Brazil standing as the country with the second highest number of cases after the United States of America. For more on the latest COVID-19 figures across the globe, here is Gerald Nanji Eyambe.
India reported 24,882 new coronavirus cases, the highest daily rise in the last 3 months. The country's toll rose to 158,642, with 140 deaths recorded in the last 24 hours. Brazil is the second most COVID-infected country in the world after the United States. She has registered over 277,216 deaths, with more than 10 million recoveries. The United States, which now has over 30 million cases, has lost more than 2 million of its citizens to the virus. For its part, the European Union has recorded more than 800,000 new coronavirus cases over the past 7 days. The situation is not getting better in the African continent. South Africa tops the chart with over 1.5 million cases. In that number, more than 1.4 million persons have recovered, with 51,261 deaths recorded. Cameroon now has over 40,622 cases, with 35,265 recoveries and 601 deaths. Many believe the vaccine is the way out. More than 345 million doses of the COVID-19 have been administered worldwide.
Over in the North region, sensitization and identification of needs of female entrepreneurs in the 3 northern region becomes the objective of a workshop that took place on Thursday in Garoua. The capacity building seminar was the initiative of the Competitiveness Support Facility of Cameroon, DAC. Wilson Mengole reports from Garoua.
Medical and pharmaceutical supplies for COVID-19, as well as other equipment and products used by public health personnel, is the focus of the 3-day workshop in Garoua. Addressing short and medium-term consequences of the pandemic is also on the agenda.
To know what should be done so that the medicines that are supposed to go to the beneficiary reach the beneficiaries in the good conditions.
The transfer of capacity and know-how by the World Food Programme to personnel of the North Regional Delegation of Public Health is a request from the government of Cameroon.
The government of Cameroon don't want anybody to handle medicine or internet like that. So they want PAM to help them to have a good idea of medical logistics. So
a training which will go a long way to create fruitful partnerships between the World Food Programme and the government of Cameroon.
And here down south in the central region, several indigenous persons have been receiving birth certificates, which has been a difficult situation for these persons for a very long time. Victor Siga brings to us the report.
Studies done by Okani Association revealed that 69 Baka children are without birth certificates, 39 adults without electoral cards, and 49 without identity cards. This has hindered the participation in state affairs and the involvement of the youth in national competitive examinations. The association, through the project Navigateur Autochtone, seeks to ensure their well-being by sensitizing them on the importance of having these official documents.
The objective of the project aimed at acquainting ourselves with their daily challenges, and in the course of that, we noticed that the lack of birth certificates among other official documents was one of the major problems. In the space of 9 months, we intend providing over 500 birth certificates to all of them.
During the gathering, the association pledged to provide over 300 birth certificates to the Baka children in the east and south regions. During the interactive meeting, some indigents happily received their birth certificates.
And in the South region, senators have received lectures on how to effectively perform the role as representatives of the people in the decentralization era. The one-day workshop in Ebulova was also a moment for the senators to agree to work together with municipal councils for sustainable development in the region. Pontianus Lawon reports.
The decentralization era is here, and in order to contribute to meaningful development in the region's 29 subdivisions, the 10 senators of the South have sought the services of experts to clarify their role in a context where municipal councils operate alongside the Maiden Regional Council and in collaboration with competent ministerial departments.
To manage a workshop of South Region Senator to help us in appropriation of the decentralization context so that they could be efficient in the action in direction of territorial community.
The experts have advised the senators to have a mastery of the development plans of the various municipalities as well as attend municipal and regional council sessions in order to measure the challenges faced by these structures and to determine where to intervene if the need arises.
We will meet with the executives, with the regional president, with the executive of councils, and they will tell us what the weight, what is the weight expected for us.
The objective is to enable senators effectively play their role in the development chain that links the grassroots to the central government so that the well-being of the average Cameroonian is guaranteed.
Today, March 14, is observed as the International Mathematics Day, often termed as a science which cuts across all domains. It is very much applied in traditional games like the Songo, a heritage of the Ekang people. Derek Alenui reports that the game, that is the Songo, is played by two opponents around a well-carved rectangular piece of table-like object of 14 squares with each containing 5 pawns. This is his report.
An age-old tradition, the Songo for the Ekang people has always been a source of distraction and leisure. This is a game of 7 squares each. It is played by 2 persons. Each square contains 5 pawns harvested from a tree in our forest called Ezak. Though it's very much known by the Ekang people, the Songo has its own rules and regulations. Since there are 70 pawns, the winner needs to have more than 40. Less than 40 pawns, it's a draw game. The first player empties one of his squares and redistributes the pawns in the other squares, and the next player takes over. Without necessarily being a mathematician, the game, however, requires a lot of tact. You draw your opponent into your trap until you net him, knowing that there could come a time when he can stop me from playing. To prevent that, it requires a lot of mathematics, which implies the Songo is nothing other than mathematics. Often referred to as a game for wayward persons, for the Ekang people, it is mostly played by the elderly and requires intelligence and focus to be a victor.
Thank you very much, Derek. The Collège Christo Roi of the Mbalmayo Diocese has organized a guidance counseling day for high school students with university lecturers as facilitators. According to the beneficiaries, the initiative by the principal of the school served as inspiration to conquer post-high school grounds. Details in the following report with Mukwele Princeville Aduma.
The horizon is wide, the options confusing too for young people seeking a career. The Collège Christo Roi of the Mbalmayo Diocese steps in this open door day, an initiative of its principal, Sister Ima Obioyo Belema, fitted in context.
The importance of this guide counseling day is to give the possibility to the student to choose their right according to their future and to know what to choose, because it is not just to choose, but it is to choose according to what you should do in the future.
With university dons as facilitators, high school students were drilled on the requirements and opportunities reserved in areas like economics, management, and ICTs.
We will know where we will go after our baccalaureate graduation, and we will have a good orientation for our future life, and everybody will know what he's searching for his life, and nobody should go where he doesn't know his future road. He must know where he's going and the end of that road.
The one-day orientation thus served as source of inspiration to these soon-to-be high school graduates in Barmayo.
Despite our efforts, COVID-19 plunged many families into mourning and seriously hampered the functioning of our economy and society.
In our tour to get updates on the COVID situation in the different regions, we stop over in Ngaoundéré, that is in the Adamawa region. Here, the respect of barrier measures against COVID-19 has been taken quite seriously. For more, we meet Baldwin Sama with details.
Good evening to you, Benin. After the North region yesterday, let's give you updates from the Adamawa region of Cameroon. As of the 3rd of March this year, we have had 202 new cases of persons who were screened positive for COVID-19, taking the total number of persons who have been tested positive for COVID-19 in the Adamawa region of Cameroon ever since we had the outbreak of this pandemic in the country to 1,166. And talking about new cases of persons who have died of COVID-19 in the Adamawa region of Cameroon, as of for the 3rd of March this year, we have had 6 more persons who have died of the coronavirus in the Adamawa region, taking the total number of persons who have died for this virus in that part of the country ever since we had the first case last year to 28. And the death rate in the Adamawa region stands at 2.4%, with over 116 new cases of persons who have recovered from the coronavirus in the Adamawa region of Cameroon, taking the total number of persons who have recovered from COVID-19 to 801 in the Adamawa region, with a recovery rate which is quite impressive. It stands at 68.7%. We will never stop reminding Cameroonians. It is our responsibility on a daily basis to keep on reminding Cameroonians in the 10 different regions of the country, wherever they find themselves, of this necessity to continue respecting barrier measures, because together we will limit the spread of this deadly virus in the country. Back to you, Benin Bumagana.
Thank you very much, Baldwin Sama van Cayman. The 67-year-old bar president advocate at law, Charles Chakute Paty, who passed away last October 4 in France, has been buried in his native Bahau village in the West region. He was posthumously decorated with the Medal of Knight of the Order of Valor by the governor of the West region, Awa Fonkar Augustine, personal representative of the head of state. Sidonie Job Mamdi was in Bangante and brought back this report.
The gathering at the Bahawok village in the West region was to bid farewell to the remains of the Bar president Charles Chakute Paty, who died at the age of 57, a man who highly contributed to the development of Bangante in general and Bahawok village in particular. The first Bar president, who passed away when still in function, was posthumously decorated with the Medal of Knight of Order of Valor by the governor of the West region, personal representative of the head of state, Paul Biya.
It's very difficult to lose one beloved like Bâtonnier Chakute Paty. He was a great man. He loved his country. He loved his division. He loves his village.
Paty was also described by his colleagues, friends, and family members as a man who loved saving humanity.
He was a peaceful man. He was to the GDN, the National great dialogue.
Efforts made by the deceased in the advancement of the Cameroon bar from 2018 to 2020 were also saluted by the interim bar president, Claire Atangana-Bikuna, during her farewell address. Charles Chakute Patyche, who passed away last October 4th, has left behind a wife, a judicial family, and 3 children to mourn him.
A memorial mass has been celebrated in memory of the public health icon and multidimensional scholar, Professor Daniel NONI LANTUM, who died last February 15 and was buried in his hometown in Kumbo. Family, friends, and colleagues used the occasion to celebrate the man who impacted lives with ingenuity in research, his publications, and activism. Beatrice Losamba reports on that memorial and Thanksgiving Mass in honor of the super scholar at the Mvogada Catholic Parish in Yaoundé. This is a report.
The public health giant had impacted lives as he went about his activism, teaching in amphitheaters, researching, publishing and championing a number of other causes. Friends, colleagues and family opt for a memorial mass to celebrate what they describe as Professor Daniel NONI LANTUM's full ripe age of 87 years spent at the service of humanity.
The legacy is essentially not he physically, but by the values he represented. Thoroughness, being effective, coalition of people, high-level scientists.
Known as one of the most influential scientists of his time, the scholar is often twinned with another Cameroonian health legend gone before, Professor Victor Anomangu. From his cutting-edge discoveries of a remedy for the swollen neck disease goiter to his advocacy for the recognition of African medicine in the scientific world, the work of this scientific genius is celebrated.
He wanted to build a national health system that was as good as any health system in the world.
Beyond his scientific achievements, this father of 4 had a multidimensional nature. He was a poet, writer, doctor, teacher, and traditional head of the Nsor community, Chufai Bastos Yaoundé. As Professor Daniel NONI LANTUM finishes his job on earth, this Thanksgiving Mass provides an opportunity to lift his soul to God, remembering his legacy, which has inspired generations.
We're also talking about the mortal remains of Roger Yuguda, a technician with the Cameroon Radio Television, who has been laid to rest in his native Gambo in the Kiale subdivision. The station manager of CRTV East, who represented the general manager, Sharon Dongo, extended the corporation's heartfelt condolences to the family, saying his loss is a big blow to the CRTV East family. Tala LT reports from Gabor in Kiale.
CRTV in 2012 and was transferred to the Nkolbikon FM TV transmission center as a technician. He served the corporation until 2016 when he was diagnosed of kidney failure. In spite of his failing health, he continued carrying out his functions until his situation got worse sometimes in 2018, not being able to carry out his weekly hemodialysis in Betwa because the center closed its doors in April 2020. He was referred to Garua, where he continued receiving treatment until the cold hands of death snatched him on the 30th of January 2021. During a funeral ceremony in his native Gambu, the station manager of CRTV East, Kelvin Bunda, who represented the general manager, Sharon Dongo, described the deceased as a hardworking, diligent and devoted man.
Mr. Roger Yuguda, who is of late, is somebody who I can describe as very, very respectful. One of those who served CRTV with all his heart. Even in times of sickness, he was always ready to do just that which was expected of him.
His demise is also a big loss to his family and entire community as a whole.
Papa was était un père qui nous conseillait, qui n'a jamais cessé de nous soutenir dans nos efforts, malgré
until his last days.
Born around 1960 in Gambu, Kaili subdivision of the Far North region, Roger Yuguda, after 9 years of service with the CRTV, leaves behind a wife, children, friends and colleagues to mourn his demise.
Entire Cameroon radio television, the CRTV, is still in very great shock after the abduction of one of our colleagues, Fame Bunyo Ayise, with CRTV Boya. He was abducted or taken away by unidentified gunmen near her home in Munya, Boya, as she returned from work on Saturday. Much has not come out yet about the whereabouts of Fame Bunyo. May your prayers go for Fame too. Let's talk sports now. The different activities that will mark the third edition of the Miss Lyon Beauty Contest to take place from March the 14th to March 14 to 18 have been unveiled. This was during the press conference granted by the organizer of the contest, NONI Felicite Chuen, Chief of Service for Sport at CRTV Littoral. Let's get details of that report with Scholar Maloke.
The Miss Lyon Beauty Contest, which started in 2017, is an event aimed at valorizing ladies who practice different sporting activities in Cameroon. This third edition is bringing together 10 participants from domains like swimming, basketball, cycling, rugby, snooker, football, among others.
I just saw this event as an opportunity to present myself to the world, not only as a female sporter, but like a woman who can actually be beautiful out of her sport of activities.
Speaking at the press conference in Douala, the brain behind the event, Monique Felicite Chuen, unveiled activities which will mark this edition.
We will have beach volley, intellect, knowledge, dance, culinary art, many activities like that.
She also explained that the major innovation during this third edition will be an excursion to Mwanko in the Sanaga Maritime Division. The competition, which officially begins Monday with culinary arts, will end on Thursday, March 18th, during a gala night where the Miss Lyon 2021 will be elected.
And it's with that story that we come to the end of this edition of the 7:30 News. At 8:30, you are going to get Lucrez Mebenga. Keep watching the CRTV. God bless you.
Malgré nos efforts,
despite our efforts, COVID-19 plunged many families into mourning and seriously hampered the functioning of our economy and society.
CRTV News, ici, toute l'info.
Depuis le début de l'année 2021, nous observons une augmentation du nombre de cas positifs au test de coronavirus dans nos formations sanitaires. Pour se protéger, ayons toujours notre masque à portée de main pour l'arborer lorsqu'on est face aux autres populations. Nous devons régulièrement laver nos mains, soit avec un gel hydroalcoolique ou au besoin de l'eau et du savon.